Hey guys, MrPokke here. Just want to make a super quick video regarding my current setup that I use to get ourselves 3-star for all 3 of the different gear farming domains at difficulty 13. 14 is going to be quite a bit later after 28-36, so probably I would say probably more than like a month later. But for now, this is going to be a very nice benchmark. You will unlock this difficulty 13 right after defeating 26-36, which you can kind of check out our previous video that we made the other time. We are going to be able to get 3 stars for all 3 of the different gearing stages. Whichever you guys want to farm, it kind of just depends on which one is going to be the main thing they're going to be lagging. So for example, if a lot of your units are going to be running crit set and fighting spirit, then the Motivator is going to be a very nice place just for the crit gears. Speed is just mainly going to be for speed chasing. I would say unless you are playing a lot of RTA, this is one of the least impactful gears generally speaking, because the units that actually use this are very rare in terms of the PvE, whereas for crit damage as well as crit, they are very common, especially in PvP. So it's gonna be the HP set as well as barrier for the Forgotten Oath. So that's gonna be my 2 cents. Without any stalling, I'm just gonna jump straight into the teams I'm gonna be using for all 3, and I'm just gonna be commenting as I demonstrate this to you guys live, right? So we'll start off first with the crit team I'm gonna be using, and one very interesting thing you'll come to notice for all 3 of the clears is that I don't actually use a mono element team, even though the mechanics for a lot of these bosses, they kind of really want you to force to use a right element, right? But you can see from the mechanics that we're going to be using, especially with the help of our brand new Wedding Carmen, this performance is going to be very fine, even if you're going to be running off element. So for the team, a lot of times you're going to be seeing we have a lot of common units. So for example, we have Tyria, Bunny, Charlotte, Emily, as well as Wedding Carmen for the crit set. This one is going to be the one that I'm using for speed set. Heidi over here is very strong against speed set. You really want to build her. So it's once again Wedding Carmen for the additional sustain. And then this is going to be the crit damage set, which once again we're going to be using Heidi as well. His name's Rosaria as well as Ashura. So for all of these 3 different teams, the most common units are generally Wedding Carmen, Bunny Girl Charlotte, as well as Rosaria. And then you can kind of flex between the defenders a little bit. So this one's I'm going to be using Emily. This one I'm using Heidi. And then this one I'm just going to be going to stick with the good old-fashioned Ashura, right? So those are going to be the team comps, and I'm just going to start off with the crit set right now to kind of show you guys what this is going to be looking like. And then at the very end of the video, I'll show you guys the build as well, right? So the thought process behind Motivator, if you guys have played this a little bit, you basically want to try and break him as fast as you can, because if you don't break him, you don't do any damage. The most important unit I would say is definitely Carmen for the sustain, but also Tyria is very strong here, because you can see Motivator is actually going to be considered with 15 toughness bar, but Tyria has a built-in mechanic which allows her to get this shadow mode to increase your toughness bar damage. So this is actually very nice. So we're just going to instantly come in over here, give us the heal, and we'll just keep on dealing our damage as we see fit. Alright, continue on with our basic. At this very start, we are definitely not going to be breaking bro's toughness. It's always going to be covered, which is fine. As long as you break bro's shield, it's going to be more than sufficient. For this particular case, we are just going to instantly cast our Nova Burst into our S3, which will then instantly give us the extra turn. And then this is going to pop back into our basic, casting our extra skill. And this instantly breaks the barrier for Motivator, which means at this point of time, you can pretty much just carry on with whatever you're doing as if you're going to be fighting him normally, because the mechanic for this guy is that the shield, or rather the toughness bar, it will regenerate if he has a shield, but as long as he does not have a shield, then it's not going to be an issue whatsoever, right? So Emily's just going to go in. Bunny Charlotte, we can actually go for a S3 here because we have max X. Okay. Then he's gonna hit Emily. My shield I'm always gonna be giving for Emily, because generally speaking the defenders are gonna be the one taking the most damage, and if he does hit, for example, Bunny Charlotte, my Wedding Carmen will just give us additional heals from the S2, so there will be no issues there, right? Then for this one, we're just gonna pop open one of our Nova Burst S2 just to give us the additional toughness bar damage. Then Emily is once again gonna be going for our Nova Burst S1 for a little bit more shield. Okay, we do get ourselves the extra skill here. For this particular point, because you can actually break him, you could do this if you want, or you could just go for basic. I'm actually just gonna opt for the break. so that we can reset our damage a little bit higher, because my next bunny shouted turn is gonna give us an extra turn. So my ultimate not having the right cooldown is not gonna be as important here, right? So we're just gonna go on with our basic. We do have our speed buff from Tyria, which is gonna be good. And then he's gonna recover. So it takes a little bit of damage. Now we get this back up. And then we are just gonna start dealing a lot of harvest wild damage from here. Okay, we're just gonna basic. And then his next move is gonna be doing his shield once again. You wanna try and make sure that your Emily does not die. So I'm actually gonna be going for a Nova Burst S1, just to give us a little bit more healing for Emily. Making sure that she's gonna be healthy. It's gonna be a basic, 2 stacks here, which is very good. Goes for another basic here. And you can see Motivator is pretty much gonna be almost done for. Counter AoE, which is gonna be fine. Gets us an S2. Then we're gonna do the almost exact same thing all over again. His next move is gonna be his ultimate, which is gonna be hitting every single enemy target. So for this particular move, I am actually just still gonna stick to my Emily buff, because Wedding Karma is able to heal our Tyria in just a second. So it's gonna be fine. Gets us a defense buff just in case we do not break fast enough. But it shouldn't really be too big of an issue. So for this one, I'm actually just gonna heal my Tyria. And then my bunny shot is gonna go in. All of these are just doing additional damage for a shield. Then Tyria is gonna be where majority of our burst damage is gonna come from. So I'm just gonna activate one Nova Burst S1. I'm not casting my ult because this is gonna give me an extra skill already, just to maximize our damage a little bit higher. S2 comes in, gets us a break, very good. Alright, then there's gonna be an AoE, which we are gonna be able to easily survive anyways. Okay, then from this point onwards, we are more or less already guaranteed the victory. So we're just gonna take a little bit of shield. Even if he kills my Emily here, it doesn't really matter anymore, because you know, the rest of my team is just gonna deal way too much damage, right? So from this point, Bunny Charlotte pops open the S2 into S3. We do get ourselves the 5 stack, so it's gonna be an insane amount of damage. And then Tyria can pretty much just wrap up right now. Cast a Nova Burst S3, which will reapply back our 3 stacks of thorns. And then after we reapply our 3 stacks of thorns, we are just gonna come in here with an S1 for an absolute insane amount of damage. Then he's just gonna be barely alive. Okay, so that actually gets us to at 32,000 burst. So those will be our Motivator running the 3-star with 36 turns remaining. Damage wise, I would say Tyria is gonna be dealing an absolutely insane amount of damage because of the S3 into the free S you are gonna be able to get. So the builds, let me just show you guys what I actually use. So this is gonna be the one I use for my Motivator. So Tyria is gonna be very standard with the traditional crit rate. These 2 effect rest pieces purely just because I have very nice substats, so I do not even have the Valor or the Fighting Spirit for us to get a little bit more attack. But just because I wrote such a good amount of substats here, I'm just gonna be sticking as is. 10k attack, blah blah. You can kind of see the stats for yourself. And this is gonna be for our Emily running our full HP for PvE purpose. 180 speed is a little bit slow, but it's gonna be okay with 72% crit rate and 128% crit damage for the highest possible amount of damage. Gear over here, we're gonna be running with the EX4. Ideally, you go EX5 just for a little bit more crit rate, because in PvE speed is not going to be as important generally speaking. Alright, the talent tracers, so we're 688. Then Emily is going to be 789. Honestly, this is going to be a little bit redundant. I only maxed this to level 9 like way back in the days, but this is completely unnecessary. Then this is going to be for our Wedding Karma doing the 586. Actually, I can bring this up to level 6, might as well. Then the skills are going to be, or rather the build is going to be 72k HP, 197 speed. In PvE, this is not going to change. We're always going to be running 4-piece HP in PvE or PvP. But for the journey, I would recommend you guys sticking with the speed build in PvE, because the survival pressure for your your DPS is not very high, because the AI doesn't really aim at DPS. But if you're going to be using Wedding Karma in PvP, I would prefer if you guys run somewhat of a set like this to give her a lot higher of a HP alongside alongside with the BX series for the highest possible amount of health. Because in PvP, if you want to deal with Carmen, you have to kill her first before you hit that DPS. So everybody in PvP is going to try to kill her, right? And that's why you want to give her more HP in PvP. And then this one is going to be for our Bunny Charlotte. Classic crit rate with crit damage, 4-piece crit rate with 2-piece Fighting Spirit. Not too much to explain. I maxed out the basic because I use Charlotte a lot in my PvE content just for the highest possible amount of DPS. Getting an additional 15% attack. This one is just mainly for quality of life because I hate missing the additional 1 stack of ignition. So I brought this up to 95%. If you don't want to, you can leave it at level 8, it's fine. And the ultimate, if you want to bring this up a little bit higher, you can feel free to do so as well, right? So that's going to be our crit rate set for Motivator. Now I'm just going to jump into the Arctic Assault. Frankly speaking, Arctic Assault is a little bit scary, especially if you do not have yourselves Hades. I would say Hades is almost non-negotiable for this particular fight because no one can tank as well as Hades, right? But with that being established, let me bring this up over here and we can kind of just go and see where this looks. I would say for this particular fight, it is going to be the most challenging. So if you cannot get it early, don't worry about it because you do need a significant amount of investments for your DPS as well as the tank, which is going to be Hades over here. The most important thing is to basically time your attacks with at least 2 buffs so you don't give him the action very advanced, and time your Hades shield before this particular S2, which actually strips away all of the enemy buffs inclusive of your shield itself, right? So this is going to be really, really annoying. The very first hit, you really want your Rosaria to get herself the defense down. If she cannot land a defense down, kind of get a reset. So it is what it is. We do get an evasion, which is not too shabby. I don't really mind that. Alright, Charlotte is just going to continue doing Charlotte things. And now Rosaria is just gonna pop over this right now. You don't really have to wait for your 3 stacks on Rosaria. It's never gonna happen because it's only gonna be single target. So don't worry about it too much. For this hit, my Carmen is just gonna go for the basic because he's definitely gonna get that hit on Hades. For this particular move, you pretty much just want to go for your enhanced skill. Then later on, we're going to be able to get our extra turn, which will be really, really good. Very important because this move, he is going to strip away my Hades buff, which is why you don't really want to activate your S2 just now. So this hit is going to do that. Did not remove my S2 buff, which is actually really, really not too shabby. We're just going to go for the basic. Then Rosaria is just going to go for the basic. It's going to get an action really advanced. So at this point is where I then cast my Hades shield. I do not have my guard anymore, so my units are definitely going to be tanking a bit of a hit over here. It kind of is what it is. I don't really need to cast my S1 with the enhance because it's going to be an AoE. Okay. Rosaria does take a significant amount of damage there. But we're just going to heal back up with Carmen. Okay, then we're gonna recover. Bunny Charlotte can actually pop open and Nova Burst S3. That is good. He hits Hades, which is fine. Rosaria, she is about to... Okay, we can go for the basic here. Then afterwards, that is when we can actually pop this, get us a Nova Burst. So we're gonna apply our break for this very, very turn. Okay, we also get our accuracy down, which is super, super nice. Even if he is gonna be coming back up in this turn, it is gonna be okay because we are gonna be breaking him right here. So I'm just gonna let go of my basic without casting my ult. Just nice getting us the break. So we push down his action value all the way. And then we are just gonna do another basic. Then we can start preparing for the next hit. Rosaria, you are gonna be activating our S3. Hopefully we land a defense down. Okay, we do land a defense down. He aims Hades, which is gonna be good. So we got 1 turn of defense down here. We are going to let go of our Nova Burst And then from this point, I do need to pop open my normal basic, because I need my Haiti to let go of her enhanced S1, because the enhanced S1 gives you a lot of shield. So that's gonna be a very significant amount. Then Rosaria is just once again gonna pop open on S3. Alright, aims Haiti there, which is gonna be fine. Then we can refresh our Charlotte right here. Get us the hit on this. Then for this one, Haiti is gonna be casting our S2 into S1. So I do need myself to let go of our Nova Burst. Okay, S2 into S1. Then we just hope that Rosaria can survive this. That would be really good. It's gonna be a big AoE. Okay, let's see if she holds. Okay, so Rosaria actually held this time, which is gonna be really good. We are just gonna be going for our basic attack. And then when he hits Haiti, my Haiti is gonna be able to tank that, so that is always nice. Just in case something goes wrong, I'm just gonna heal my Rosaria again. Also, I don't really want him to get an action value advance, because my common only has one buff. Then I'm just gonna be going for the double basic. Then Rosaria is just gonna be going for her usual basic here. Alright, she hits Haiti, which is gonna be A-okay. So now we can actually pop open our own S3. Even if he gets a little bit of action value advance, it's still gonna be manageable. So we pop this. Then we are gonna be able to cast our Nova Burst S3. Last 2 toughness bar. At this point, the battle is gonna be more or less over, because even if he kills my Haiti, my Rosaria is just gonna come in and get the cleanup right there, right? Unfortunately, can't really kill my Katie, so that will pretty much be our Wendigo 26-36 clear. Once again, for this particular fight, it is definitely gonna be the most difficult one. And frankly speaking, if you do not want to farm your PV or rather speed gears at the highest efficiency, is honestly not that bad, because defense that we pretty much only give it to Haiti unless you want to mix it as a 2-piece. But generally, if you want to go for the most efficient farming method, you can always just go for either Motivator, which I would say is my favorite for PvE, and a Forgotten Oath for your tanks as well as the crit damage set. So the team I'm going to be using for this from just now is going to be the exact same Wedding Carmen, so I'm not going to repeat the same thing over again with our exact same Bunny Girl Charlotte. This is gonna be our Haiti build. So we have 5.8k defense with full on defense. Everything here is just gonna be full defense. 800 with all of their skills here. I did not max out my cooldown reduction on this. If you want to, you could consider it, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. This one, if you get +1 then for guard duration, it might be pretty useful, but it is just way too expensive, so I'm going to be sticking with that. And then my Rosaria is going to be the 100% crit rate with 195 speed, 788 over here, as well as the classic 2-piece crit with 2-piece fighting spirit, right? So that's pretty much gonna be that for our Motivator gear. Oh, before I leave on to the final round, which is crit damage, for this particular break skill, you can actually consider running cube instead, because our break did not occur like almost at all, because we were never going to get our second break anyways. So if you want to have a little bit more sustain, running your cube overall is actually going to be a little bit better for you, right? So that is pretty much going to be that for our 26-36 level 13 difficulty for Arctic Assault against Wendigo. So for the very last fight against all of our level 13 difficulty gear farming, this is going to be the crit damage and HP set for Forgotten Oath featuring Perses. For this fight, we are able to once again make use of our Tyria, which will do very well against a green enemy, as well as the AoE mechanic. So for this particular fight, you do want to use both Rosaria as well as Tyria to use their AoE capabilities to wipe out his minions, so that you can get yourself the additional damage taken, and you're just going to be able to go to town on this guy, right? So as long as you can get rid of bro's minions, it is going to be a relatively straightforward fight. Much more manageable, especially compared to Wendigo. So let's just take a look at what we have. He's always going to go first by summoning his minions. We are not going to activate our Wild Celestials S3. Then for this particular hit, you really want to apply your defense down if possible. So let's see if we can get it. Okay, we do not land the defense down on Perses, which is honestly a little bit unfortunate. So we are just going to go for the reset. For this particular fight, you basically want to keep resetting until Rosaria lands the defense down, right? Ideally on all 3 targets so that you can try to deal one-shot the minions if possible. I don't think my builds are strong enough to one-shot the minions, but we'll just see what's up. But I just do want to land defense down on Perses. Okay, so this is going to be the ideal scenario. So you land defense down on all 3 targets. Then you're just going to cast your Hades ultimate. If you land your accuracy down, that's also pretty good. Okay, fantastic. Then our Tyria is going to come in with a Nova Burst S2, dealing massive AoE damage. Let's see if we actually get rid of the minions. Okay, not quite enough to get rid of the minions. You have to kill these 2 minions right now. You do not want to stall any further. So I'm actually just going to go for the S2 on one of the minions, which does give me a speed buff. And then my Rosaria, you are just going to go ahead and cast yourself this scale on this guy, this basic. So we are able to get this particular debuff, which is what we're looking for. Erosion, right? Damage taken increased by 5%, stacks up to 10 times, and then you're just gonna keep going at it over and over again. My World's Astra is just gonna continuously basic. Then from this point, my Tyria can actually activate her free S2. Alright, very good amount of damage. Hades is just gonna be going for a Soul Burst, Nova Burst S1, because she might take a bit of damage here. Then Rosaria is gonna slam in with her S2. Gets us a basic here as well. Alright. Then for my World's Astra, because we do have a little bit of this debuff over here, we can just go for... Nah, actually no, we're just going to keep going for the basic. Then Tyria is just going to go for the basic as well. Gets us the break over here, which is very nice. Hades is just going to once again go for the basic. Alright, continuously stacking our additional hits from Ashura. Alright, very good. Then at this point, he comes for my Hades, which is going to be fine. We are going to... Because he's going to be casting this to summon. So you essentially want to activate your Omega right now. Gets a little bit of healing as well as a minor speed buff. Okay. Then Welt is just going to cast out S2 for her own speed buff as well. And Hades is just gonna cast our S2 into our S3. The attack down debuff doesn't really matter. Okay, Rosaria is gonna go for the S1. Then the domain is gonna expire right here. But because... Okay, that's gonna be fine. We are just going to get ourselves the cleanse right here, because you do not want to get this thing up for you, right? Because you want to remove that particular fight. So for this one, because he will summon the minions right here, we are just gonna go for our S2. Then this is gonna be letting go of our basic. Then Rosaria is going to activate our S3. Very good. So notice how my Tyria actually went up here. That is because I did in fact give her the speed buff, which is from our S2 just now. If you did not have the speed buff, then you probably would not have outlevelled the minions here, which would have been very bad. If you do not want to do that, you could also just go for this as well, where you use a Rosaria's S2 to potentially snipe a 50-50, where the basic lands on the minion as well. But that is pretty much going to be up to you. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to go on the boss, because my Tyria will pretty much wrap up the fight right here, right? So this is just kind of inconsequential at this point. I'm just going to be going for the basic. Use our Nova Burst S3. Get us the break, or rather the kill on the other 2 minions. Then this refreshes this with 3 stacks once again. Also gets the damage taken, and then we're just going to pop on our basic, which also gets us a break. And then the fight should ideally be over very close right here. I'm just gonna be casting my Omega heal, because he is about to let go of his S3, which is gonna be a pretty significant amount of damage. Let go of this as well. I'm pretty sure my Tira outspeeds because of our speed buff. Alright, fantastic. And then my Tira is just gonna cast another basic. And then if it's not dead here, he's pretty much dead by next turn. So he might cast an AoE. But this AoE is not really gonna be of any consequence. Alright, then we are just gonna use our Wild Archer's S1, because I do want to remove the blind debuff. Alright, then from this point, we will pretty much just get the job done with one more basic. Wild Archer follows up, and that is going to be our 40 turn 3-star clear for our level 13 Perses fight for the crit damage set, right? Then for the builds, it's pretty much the exact same. The only thing that we really changed is that we use both of these units, which is going to be Rosaria as well as Tira for the AoE factors. All other units going to be the exact same. You do not really need Bunny Charlotte here, because AoE is going to be extremely important for Perses to get rid of his minions as fast as possible, right? So hopefully this video has been a little bit helpful. Let me know what you guys think in the thoughts and comments down below. If there's going to be any other updates, or if you have like anything you guys want me to see, just feel free to let me know in the comments as well, and I'll try to make a little bit more content for my Starsavior viewers. The RTA kind of just reset, I believe, like, yeah, because right now it's gonna be almost 4 a.m. Probably do a little bit more matches in the future. I just really don't have enough time to play RTA with the absolutely insane amount of content so far. So that's pretty much all that's gonna be that. Yep, wedding comment is really good. Tira is really good. I'll go start and everything. Join Twitch, join Discord, use code 4 to gamers up. See you guys next time. Take care.